Hello and welcome to Comic Solving Problems. I'm Stephen Allen.
And I'm Eric McElroy. Guten Tag. Good
Ooh,
Abend.
for that international audience
Bis
that we might be getting.
morgen. That's right. Yeah, genau. My German is toll.
Is it? Well,
I would say my Deutsch, I suppose. If I was actually speaking German. But anyway, hello and good evening, good morning, and good night. Welcome to the show with myself and Stevie there. We are comedians. We called it Comics, and then we were told to rebrand it, but it was too late. And then it turns out there was another comedian solving problems that Comedy Central did. So it was good that we didn't call it that, because we probably would have gotten in trouble, but maybe we would have gotten noticed.
hey, anything to get you noticed these days? I'm thinking of going in heavy on Greta.
Yeah.
Might be the only way to try and get some internet sensation stuff.
Let's careful how you phrase that. But this is where we're comedians that solve problems. As I've said before, and I'll say it again, we've been doing this for almost 3 years now, and problem solved. Tick.
Yeah, job done. Thankfully,
Job
we're
done.
the reason they made a tick emoji. That's how many problems we've solved.
That's it. That was us. So yeah, are we well? We happy to solve problems today, Steve?
Doing all right, yeah. I mean, the shed is cold. You've actually seen inside the shed now, so obviously this...
I have been into the shed.
This bit looks like it, as soon as you move a few inches either side, there's an awful lot of shed in this shed. But it's cold because I forgot to put the remote control heating on.
Oops, you got all that fancy tech, all those little fun buttons to push, and you forgot.
And it's a voice activated shed, as you saw. I can tell Google to activate the shed. Plus, also because it links to my phone, I can activate the shed from wherever I am. So all I would have had to have done is just tell Google to open up the heating, turn on the heating, and it would have done it. But I forgot. So that's why I'm wearing the farmer jacket, because it's a little bit thicker.
So you're nipping out, is what you're telling us there. So, well, that's a shame.
Yeah. And how's things with you? Warmer, I imagine.
It's nice and toasty in here because I'm in the loft office, and the heat rises. And I think also because this is the addition, this part of the house is actually insulated versus the rest of the house, which as you go further down, it's like layers of Arctic temperature. The ground floor of this house, it's warmer outside right now than it is on the ground floor of this house.
I like that you've got a loft office. I'm upset that you don't call it a loffice. I feel like that should be done. And having a shed workplace, I should call this a shirk place. Yeah.
I'm closer to the toilet than you are, although I guess you pee in the garden sometimes.
Anywhere's a toilet if you try hard enough.
Well, don't try too hard right now. Well, welcome to the show. Make sure that you've liked it and the YouTube thing, subscribe it. And if you enjoy what we do, pay for it. You could go to our Ko-fi link and contribute to the cause for helping Steve get more technology to turn off and on his heat.
Yeah. I mean, I could set up a timer. You're right. But we never know when we're recording these, do we? So,
yep.
That's the problem.
Because we are live as we record. So, First news story. It seems like, Steve, there's an awful lot of protesting going on right now. Have you noticed that? So we've got this happening in France. This is the one that grabbed my attention. New wave of protests coming to France. If you go over down to the Middle East, which surprisingly, there's some protests in the Middle East, which is usually such a peaceful area.
Yeah.
But this time it's Israelis protesting against other Israelis. They've basically done so many strikes there that they closed the airport earlier this week. I mean, in the U.S., we had the insurrection. What I'm saying is there's some great protests going on. Even though I don't agree with all the causes or agree with some of the causes, there's some incredible protests happening around the world. France, they're protesting because they want to raise the age of retirement from, I think, is it 10 to 15?
Yeah, ballpark.
Something like that. Yeah. Work more than 2 hours a day. America, they were, insurrecting because they don't like democracy, boring stuff like that. But what made me realize is I've chosen to live in the UK. And basically, when you compare us to shutting down an airport in Israel, burning stuff and cutting off heads in France, and then invading capitals in America, in the UK, our protests are rather shit. I mean, you know what? I'm going to protest right now. Oh, what am I going to do? I'm going to let me get it out. I'm going to get my glue. I'm going to glue myself. Look at this. What a protester I am. I got the glue. Oh, I've glued myself. Oh, no. Oh, boy. Ooh, stop oil or some shit.
And you brought
It's
props.
pathetic.
It's been a while since you brought props. Look at that. No.
I that's the whole bit I have today on that. So we'll just pause for 5 minutes.
Yeah.
But I mean, how shit are the protesters? Oh, look, I've stuck myself to something, and I haven't brought a wipe to get it off my hands. Oh no.
Yeah.
No one's burned stuff. There's not people outside the number 10 demanding anything. They haven't shut down an airport. Ooh.
Well, in the defence of the UK, we don't need protests to shut down airports. What we need is 3 flakes of snow. So we are good at shutting down airports. It's just because it's not protest related. You're right, with the protests where they glue themselves to things, they really presume that no one's going to come along and, I was going to use the phrase, pull them off, which actually still works, whichever way you wish to interpret that. But
I kept this hand free for a reason.
Of course. You don't want to put Brit stick on that one. Oh, dear. But yeah, I mean, for some reason, they're so sure that they can glue themselves to stuff and then be left there because it'd hurt their hand to remove them. If ever I tried it, there is no way. People would just be like, oh, well, you've got another hand, crank. So yeah, there's that doesn't happen in other countries. Although you did include in the French protest cutting off heads.
Yeah.
I'm not sure that, I mean, is the revolution, I suppose technically it's a protest.
It was a protest back in the day. And
Yeah.
what revolutions have you had in the UK? You had Cromwell. That didn't last.
Yeah.
Guy Fawkes.
Didn't even get started, really.
Yeah. So I realize there's a flaw to this, that I should have done this as our last story. Because now I'm stuck to the sign.
Yeah. You need some solvent, although it's probably made from oil.
It hurts.
You've only used Brit stick, man. How can that be stick? Well,
I have to remember to wash before I do other things.
Good advice. Yeah.
I just have to de-stress after the show.
It gets a lot of people erotically charged, this show. We get comments about that. Not necessarily on YouTube.
Come over to my OnlyFans channel after the show for the post-show. It's sticky now.
The de-glue, yeah.
I can't even, actually, it's not working now.
Also, with the, when you were talking about the Middle East, normally when a headline has the word strikes in it, it's not the kind of strikes that they've got at the moment. So if anything, it's a step in the right direction. Do you know what I mean?
I don't think you're allowed to make puns about that.
I just did. So there you go. I was agreeing. I was being nice about it. Yeah, the French one's interesting, though, isn't it? Because they are known for being good protesters. You credit where it's due. In fact, I've got the headline from back in the day. This is, do you remember when it was the 90s? French farmers set fire to a truckload of British sheep. But because they were French, they were done perfectly. They kept some sauce going on. It wasn't allowed to dry out. They seasoned it. However, at the moment, the protests over there, it's difficult for our newspapers to deal with it. Because what you've got is Macron, who was changing the rules on pension without passing it through Parliament. He was just, because he wouldn't have won the vote. So you've got to work out who you hate. The newspapers hate the French, but then the French are falling out with Macron and the newspapers hate Macron. And the newspapers always try and defend pensioners, and this is affecting pensioners, I suppose. So they're on the side of the protesters, but our newspapers hate people who protest. So they're absolutely screwed. There's no way that our papers can deal with this in any way. So instead, they just show pictures of how violent things are, as you say, with things being set alight. The French do set things alight a lot when they protest.
Very.
In many ways, I think if we run the stats, it's something about 1% of carbon emissions are caused by French protesters. So Greta, get over there and say no quite a lot. You see, I told you there'd be a Greta joke in it, and that's all I'm doing this week. In terms of all the different protests, though, you're right, over here, we've not had good quality protests, but we've had a good quantity. We had the teachers went on strike, which annoyed loads of people because the kids were at home. We had the nurses going on strike. Here's the headline for that one. That got so bad that I looked into it and I couldn't even hire a nurse for a stripogram. Nor could I get a nurse for a kissogram. Eventually, the only way around it, to get a nurse, I had to book in for a mammogram, which really, if anything, ruined that stag do. So but we push through because you got to have fun. You do all you can. We've had barristers go on strike. People are upset about that. We've had paramedics go on strike. As I said at the time, I go running, but on days when you couldn't call an ambulance, I was running around the hospital. If I did fall over, job's already done, mate.
Yeah.
We had, this is one of my favourite ones, we had traffic wardens go on strike. Oh, no, please, don't. Oh, come back. Oh, no, they're on strike. Oh, well. So there was that. Absolutely everyone's been on strike over here, and it's slowly coming to an end. But you're right, nothing's been really that impactful, has it? So I think that might be where we're at. That you're right, we don't do good protests, but we do an awful lot of them. We do so many that, if anything, at some point, we might have to outsource them to France. In the same way that we outsource our electricity supply and stuff from there. They're pretty good at them. We could buy them in.
Yeah. They would do better than, I mean, geez, this is just, it's pathetic.
But what would you rather people do for the Insulate Britain stuff? That was a weird group and a weird cause. Like, go and have a word with Parliament. If you want them to bring in regulations about insulation, impact Parliament, not people who are not at home. If anything, Insulate Britain should be attacking the people at home, because that's where the insulation is. Were they trying to get people to lag their cars? No, they weren't, to back off the M25.
I think they should do like a Robin Hood, steal insulation from the rich and give it to the poor.
Yeah, loads of fiberglass being left outside people's front doors. What could possibly go wrong with that?
They could take rich people's, they could genuinely rob people, take their money and insulate their houses with the money.
Okay. Again, good idea. There's no such thing as a bad idea, but we're getting pretty close.
And to get the money to stay up, they've got lots of glue.
They've got lots of glue. If there's one thing we know about those protesters, they're keeping the horses in business.
They can protest with arts and crafts.
Yeah, you got to watch out. In the old days, it was just boring folk down Hobbycraft. These days, militant. So yeah, we're up to date with that story.
There we go. Yeah, sticky.
So if you'd like to pay for Eric's hand removal surgery, then the link's down there, scrolling down there. If you'd like to get sorted that way, you can follow us on Twitter and all of that. Any other problems to fix?
Yes. Well, I'm pleased to announce that I'm going to be standing for Parliament.
Okay.
Yep. Because I saw this headline and I thought, what? People offer you fake money, real money for a fake company? 10 grand a day? Sign me up, motherfucker. I mean, these are the guys that have been sacked from being in government. They're already still getting their parliamentary salaries. And now companies are calling them up and saying, hey, do you want to do a bunch of dodgy stuff? And they're like, yeah, totally cool, man. And so, yeah, sign me up. I pledged allegiance to the king or whatever. You have to, I'm in, and I'm thinking about running in Islington North because I heard there's a vacancy up there. Jeremy Corbyn's seat. I've been a big, what is he? Labor supporter for a long time. Yeah. So I've got a real good platform, and I believe in opportunities to make me rich.
Beautiful work. Yeah.
Yeah. I will insulate Britain and stuff.
When you left a pause after what is Jeremy Corbyn, I really worried for a while, because if ever there's a group you don't want to upset online.
Yeah, they're the folks who will find that joke you told that was just a tiny bit pretty racist and or bad joke. All those things.
Although the number of hours of this stuff we've done, we're bound to have said something that's cancelable. Each week, we always look back at the views and pray that they're low, because the last thing we can afford is for people to watch this. Yeah.
So, no, Jeremy Corbyn is he's available. That's all I was saying. But yeah, I'm thinking, I mean, I don't have a pension. Maybe this is it. I believe firmly in this country and getting money. I think that's the platform that you need.
That's not a bad shout, yeah. I mean, the closest thing I've got to a pension is eating lots of fatty food, because I just need to really lower that life expectancy. It's the only way I can afford to carry on like this. So, yeah, you've got a better plan. It is embarrassing for Matt Hancock and Kwasi Kwarteng, and that is saying something. Because of all of the MPs that you think, how could they possibly be more embarrassed than they already were? And yet somehow they managed to find a way of doing it. It had the whiff of the early 2000s fake shake, News of the World style stings. And that just goes to show that, again, how stupid these people are. They get a phone call saying, I think for Quasi, originally he was asking for about 10 grand a year. And the person on the phone was saying, oh, we were thinking like 10 grand a day. And he, at that moment, didn't go, well, this is bullshit. I just thought, no, this is how negotiation works. Didn't smell a rat at all. Thank God he's not in charge of money.
Because is it Gavin, what's his name? Gavin Stevens? No.
Williamson.
Gavin Williamson. He actually, they've released his interview. He actually smelled the rat and basically went, no, I'm not doing this. Yeah. So you know it's bad if it makes him look good.
And if ever there's someone who can smell rats, spiders, any kind of animal that everyone else hates, Gavin Williamson's your dude.
Yeah.
Matt Hancock, though, the fact that
he didn't even blink. He's like, yeah, it'll be 10 grand.
Yeah, and I'll give a large proportion of this to dyslexic charities. I mean, it'll only be £3, but they can't tell because I'll write it on a check long form.
His inner monologue self-chat, if I had that level of confidence, imagine what I could do.
Yeah. And yet, during the pandemic, whenever he was doing the daily briefings, he looked like he was the one who just followed through in his own pants. He was terrified every day. There was a lot of bluster from the others and overconfidence, whereas he looked like he was a rabbit in the headlights. But now it's all done. It's what I love about him. He keeps trying to go back on TV, being interviewed, back on reality shows to show us the real him. And the problem is, every time he does that, we see the real him. Let's get the hint. No one likes that anymore, Matt.
And then he invoices us for £10,000.
Yeah, that's true. God. What a guy.
What a guy. So there we go. So will you stand with me? What do you think?
Yeah. Do we do running mates over here? I don't think we do, but might as well.
Why not?
I could be your deputy. Yeah.
Yeah.
Got some spare time on my hands. Never, but other than that, it's absolutely fine. Look, time-wise, well, we can move on to the next story, but don't forget to follow and subscribe and click like and all that.
If you'd like to contribute to my campaign, I think it's probably illegal for me to say it that way, but
only if it's a real campaign. And we're also not broadcasting. I don't think until they bring in the online safety thing, Ofcom's not in charge of any of this online stuff.
Is Ofcom going to be in charge of YouTube stuff?
Online stuff, but probably not in the same way that the broadcast rules. I'm sure we'll still be able to say stuff that's in contempt of court, that's libelous. I think I'm right in saying this. You're online, so you can definitely say stuff that's during PERDA. You can go in on who you hate. Right. Yeah, it'll be absolutely fine.
You can't say libelous stuff, though.
Yeah, you can. You can do contempt of court and you can do libel. It's the two things I know about the internet. Slander, definitely.
Really?
You can. Google it. Or don't. Just trust me on this.
So Jeremy Corbyn.
Oh, yeah. Might not get in trouble with Ofcom, but there's a handful of people online will find it. So I've got another story. Actually, it's a collection of stories because... Ooh. Yeah, it's been a little bit busy trying to look after the little lad, and I thought, how am I going to manage to write for this week's Comic Solving Problems? I turned to the Daily Star to try and find all of the weird news stories that's on there. So here's a selection of various ones. This one, Sainsbury's new packaging makes shoppers feel like they've bought a human kidney. I'm not really sure which market they were going for in this one, but, turns out. Do you want to have a look to see what it looks like?
Yeah, I know. I shop at Sainsbury's. I've been handling these.
I mean... That's the one that was tweeted. That doesn't make me think you're buying a human kidney. Not a fan of the new Sainsbury's beef mince packaging, very medical. I don't know which doctor you've been to, but they shouldn't be vacuum sealing your sample if they're taking anything. I think you were drugged in Prague. I think you were that guy from that story, if that happened. If anything, I don't think those packages look medical. They just look like you're buying store brand. Cheap. I think what you'll find there is you've had to buy cheap stuff due to the cost of living crisis. Yep. But now they've given me the idea, I think they should bring out a range that makes it look like human body parts. Because every so often in the newspapers you hear about various cannibal types. So why not give them the ability to feel that they are fully satiated as a cannibal without eating the actual humans?
Nice.
Literally solving problems on this show. Up next from the Daily Star. Katie Price faces backlash over animal cruelty as fans slam fox fur cardigan. And I wasn't even going to mention this until I saw the picture and realised that cardigan is just the worst cardigan. Not necessarily because of the fur, I'm sure that's bad, but it's not going to keep any part of you warm. It's just down the front. A cardigan is meant to keep all of you warm. She's going to get cold back, Cold arms. Look, all it does is warm up her front. And if there's anywhere where she doesn't have nerves left anymore, it would be down her front.
Was it the one on the left that's the cardigan?
Yes, the other one is probably just a cat who could do with a fur cardigan by the look of it. For some reason, she's got fur on her insteps.
It looks like she took the fur off of the cat. And the
Do you realise that she's apparently she's had, I can't remember the number now, but she's had another breast enlargement.
Oh.
And she's up to like 11 operations or something. I mean, you literally can't tell because of the fur. Maybe that's why people are complaining.
Just gonna do some research on that. Call that up here.
Well, I tried to look earlier on, and I Googled for price inflation, and you got to wade through a lot of stories before you get to the good stuff. I did a pun, Eric. I did a pun.
Sorry, I was distracted by looking for her boobies.
Yep.
Oh my God. 16th boob job, according to the Daily Mail.
Yeah, because then I presumed she'd look like a cat with loads of them down her front, but she's had them all done on the same two. That's not the way I'd have done it, but there we go. Each to their own. Just seems like a waste. Then, what's that? I can't even remember. This is the thing. We're running so late. I didn't even know the story. I can't remember what I screenshot earlier on, so let's see what the next one is. My dog escaped to my sex-starved neighbour's yard. Now we're having no-string bonks. This story doesn't say whether this person's having bonks with the neighbour or the dog. So I moved on. I didn't want to find out. This might be the last one. I don't know. Oh, this is in the Daily Star as well. Microsoft thinks that its new AI is showing glimmers of human-like intelligence. I've been using AI because I signed up for the trial of Bing.
Yeah.
And so I keep doing it every so often, and it's kind of useful. We showed on this show previously, you can watch past episodes, it can't write stand-up. It gets the format right, but can't do jokes. But it kind of gives you vague inspiration. If you want to... I was coming up with titles for something. I did an AI thing to produce loads of titles. None of them are any good, but it just kind of knocks you in the right direction. I got it to write jokes about parking, because I thought I'd see if that was useful. It didn't do any jokes, but then it made me come up with a tweet about parking. So... I think, it's useful in some ways. But anyway, back to the story. Microsoft thinks its new AI shows glimmers of human-like intelligence. Give us more detail. We demonstrate that beyond its mastery of language, GPT-4 can solve novel and difficult tasks that span mathematics, coding, vision, medicine, law, psychology, and more. It's not like any human I've met. Have you met people? They're cretins. Have you tried to drive when someone doesn't indicate as they turn left? Have you walked down the street and someone stops when they look at their phone because they can't multitask? Have you seen people? So give me GPT version 5, where every so often it just gets it wrong and dribbles. Then we'll call it human-like. And then is this the last one? That was the last one. So that's the Daily Star roundup, all done.
Nice. Katie Price boobies.
18, did you say? 18 or 16?
16. It's not attractive, I don't think.
Well, each to their own. And I'm not here to body shame. But as I've been talking about on stage recently, I've been doing this whole new bit about body confidence. As I keep saying, I have low body confidence. No, it's not a mental health thing. It's just I've got good eyesight and a fairly decent mirror. And this is the thing that they don't tell you about when you get laser eye surgery. Is there are small changes that no one warns you about. In the old days, wearing glasses, I wouldn't wear my glasses in the shower, so I'd get out the shower, dry off. You can't put your glasses straight on because they'd steam up. So I'd get all dried, walk into the bedroom, glasses on, get ready. The first day after having my eyes lasered, I stepped out the shower, looked in the mirror with better than 20/20 vision, was like, oh God, I've aged. Why don't they warn you about that?
But didn't your eyes fog up?
No, it turns out your eyes don't need to steam up. You've been wearing your glasses in the shower, haven't you?
But I mean, because you got the lenses, the lasers put in your eyes.
Yeah, no. I don't think the lasers stay in there. I've certainly not released laser yet. At some point, I could probably.
I thought they lasered in the contact lenses.
No, that's not how it works. Thankfully.
Oh.
Yes. But I'm not here to diss Katie Price's physique. It certainly earns more money than mine ever would.
Well, it's not hers. It belongs to the manufacturer.
That's true. Well, it depends if she's paid them off or not. I've often thought about that when you hear about people defaulting on loans that they have for plastic surgery. Do they come and get it back?
Yeah, but whether she's paid for it or not. I mean, this is an Apple phone, but it's you know, so is it?
Oh, do you think there are
it's
terms
still
and
the
conditions?
brand.
Do you have to read the T's and C's and click OK before you can use them?
She's got to update her operating system every now and then.
She has the terms and conditions tattooed from her ribs down.
She gets a virus.
I mean, they're not smart boobs, which actually I've now invented.
We don't know that.
I now need to claim that as my invention, in the same way that Arthur C. Clarke invented geostationary satellites, and then someone else had to do the rather harder work of building one. But I've just done the same. I've just invented smart boobs. You could use the power source of the heat of your body, turn it into some low voltage electricity, and then you could, smart boobs.
Solar powered.
Yeah, and the great thing about them is they come already paired. Oh,
As long as we make each other laugh.
and sometimes not even that.
Right. We better go. This is getting embarrassing. So we'll be back next week, possibly. It is Easter holidays, but we're not going anywhere. I might not be. We might need to discuss when we record, but should be around. Mm-hmm. And yeah, so thank you for watching. I hope you've enjoyed having your problem solved. And we'll be back next Tuesday, if not the Tuesday after that.
Whichever comes first.
There we go.
Till
See you
next
then.
time. Bye. Thank you for watching this from Comic Solving Problems.
And if you feel like it, go ahead and like the video.
Or subscribe. Commitment.